Need more reasons to watch college football? It's time to bang some hats. Here's Chad Withrow's must-see games this weekend.
To illustrate how good this weekend is with its top 10, here are just some of the games and rivalries that will not be featured in the top 10 this year that every other year you'd say crazy not to include these games. Clemson, South Carolina, not going to be in the top 10. Iowa, Nebraska on Black Friday, a tradition unlike any other, not going to be in the top 10. Kentucky, Louisville, not in the top 10. That's how good this top 10 is. And we start with game number 10 this week. It is the Territorial Cup between Arizona and Arizona State. Arizona, a 1.5 favorite on the road at number 20, Arizona State. This game Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Arizona State still technically alive for the Big 12 championship game. They got to win, and they got to get a lot of help to make it to that championship game. By the way, this is the first time that both teams are bowl eligible in this game in 7 years going head-to-head. So Arizona, Arizona State, game number 10. Let's move along to game number 9. Number 12, Miami, at number 22, Pittsburgh. 12 p.m. ABC. Hutton mentioned it. Teams that are out of the playoff with a chance to play spoiler against teams that are in the playoff or trying to get to the playoff. There's a couple of teams hosting, another one further down the list, that fall in this category. Pittsburgh is the first opportunity. They could help a Vanderbilt. They could help a Utah. They could help a number of teams behind them if Pittsburgh beats Miami in this game. We all know must win for Miami's playoff chances. How about Pitt? Yeah. Pat Narduzzi said, hey, Notre Dame doesn't matter. We could lose 100-3. We want to win those ACC games. They jumped out to a 28-0 lead at Georgia Tech Saturday night. They held on to win 42-28. Their freshman quarterback, Mason Hinshaw, was terrific. 20 for 27, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big one for Miami, Hut.
Yeah, and I get the sense that the committee's going to put them in and bump them up. The real thing,
they got to win, though.
Yeah, but
they lose, they're out.
If they win this game and Notre Dame's there and they've got the head, it's like, I realize you're going back to week. This has to, head-to-head has to matter at some point. It doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all, but they're taking a spot if they win. And, I mean, they're in it now. A loss puts them out, of course. But they're in with a win over Pittsburgh.
Hunter Yurachek will make a 6-7 joke and twist himself into a word pretzel to defend Notre Dame being ahead of Miami if they're very close and not talk about head-to-head if, in fact, that happens. But for Miami to be there, they got to win. I think if they win, they're in. They win, they're gonna keep their spot, and they're going to be in good shape. So Miami, they have to win over Pittsburgh. Number 8, Oklahoma has to beat LSU. LSU on the road in Norman to take on the 8th-ranked Sooners. Oklahoma, 10.5-point favorite, 3:30 on ABC on Friday. Another one of those big Friday games. This game's actually on Saturday. LSU's defense, good enough to keep them in any game. Is Michael Van Buren, the backup to Nussmeier, good enough to get the win on the road in relief in Norman? Bad news for LSU. They've yet to score more than 25 points against any FBS team all year offensively. But the defense is good enough to hold Oklahoma down. Oklahoma, if they get in the field and win this game, they are by far the worst offense to be in the college football playoff if they make it.
Yeah, I can't get the Western Kentucky thing out of my head here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be good for LSU.
No,
in this one.
No, I think this is might be a dud. But you know they tend to go back and forth, so we'll see. I'm taking Oklahoma.
Game number 7, number 6, Oregon, a 6.5-point favorite on the road at Washington. 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Oregon trying to lock up hosting a first-round game. If they lose, they still could be in the playoff, but it's going to be a little bit more harrowing for the Ducks if they lose this game. Washington, they're really good when they rush for 150-plus in a game. Oregon barely allows 100 rushing yards per game. Damon Williams and his legs must be a huge factor in this game if Washington is to pull off the upset. Game number 6.
Yeah, what color shirts are they wearing? They were black last week, right?
The Ohana shirts?
No, it was like the death of the funeral.
They went to
USC.
a funeral. Yeah. Who knows? Those gimmicks always are funny to me.
Lanning will have his team ready.
They're going to be fun.
Yeah.
Game number 6, number 10 Alabama, 6.5-point favorite on the road at Auburn. Iron Bowl time, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC Saturday night. It's been 6 years since Auburn won that crazy game against Alabama. It's been all tied since. Ashton Daniels getting the start over Deuce Knight. You might say, well, that's not a big surprise. Deuce Knight just had 6 touchdowns. Granted, it was against Mercer in their last game, but the 5-star freshman looked pretty good. But DJ Durkin going to go back to Ashton Daniels in this game.
Crazy thought I've had. If Alabama loses, Penn State should load up and go get DeBoer.
Well,
he's going to be on the ultimate hot seat immediately next year.
We can talk about this next week, depending on what happens here, Hutton. But I think that is a crazy leverage move by Kalen DeBoer right now.
Well,
there are certain things that are leaked that I'm like, I wouldn't let my agent leak this one. That's pissing off a lot of Alabama people.
Yeah, we dive into that next week for sure, because this is Alabama's coach not wanting to be the 12th highest paid coach now.
Well, if he loses this game,
I know, man.
Alabama fans will say, take the Penn State job, please. That's going to be the reaction. Game number 5 this week, number 4, Georgia, 14.5-point favorite on the road. Short drive down the road to Atlanta for number 23, Georgia Tech. Friday, 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. What happened to Georgia Tech's defense? Quarterbacks have been going off on them lately. Dylan Lonergan at Boston College had a career day. Mason Hinshaw, read his numbers off to you, dominated Georgia Tech. Darian Mensah of Duke had a big day. C.J. Bailey of NC State had a big day. Is Gunner Stockton about to go off in this game against Georgia Tech? We'll find out soon enough.
And he's got I don't know how many people are going to be watching this game, but he will have some national TV moments. But normally Georgia's in the prime windows. They're in the ABC window. But this is one that I think gets overshadowed a bit by some other games that you have here.
And keep in mind, a year ago, Haynes King was an absolute warrior in that game. Yeah. And Georgia Tech should have won. They lost in multiple overtimes in Athens.
Very well coached.
We'll get to the wrong team favorite. I was very close to going big and taking Georgia Tech at home in this game because everyone has buried them and left them for dead. They will play well in this game against Georgia. Game number 4. Still don't think it'll be enough.
Okay.
Number 14, Vanderbilt at number 19, Tennessee. The Vols, a 2.5-point favorite. 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Here are the numbers so far of Josh Heupel and Tim Banks versus Clark Lea at Vanderbilt. Tennessee is averaging 46.2 points per game. Vanderbilt 17. The Vols have rushed for an average of 273 yards in this game. A year ago with Nico at quarterback, it was 538 yards to 212. That was Diego Pavia playing for Vanderbilt in that game. Vols rushed for 281 in that game. Tennessee average yards versus Vandy with Josh Heupel, 527 to 273. Now, I say all that to say this is a very different Vanderbilt team with very different stakes in this game. But make no mistake about it, Josh Heupel has been dominant. They beat a Vandy team playing for bowl eligibility with their backup quarterback at the time, Joe Milton, 56-0 in Nashville. Josh Heupel's own Clark Lea. Will that continue on Saturday?
The key is not turning the football over, because Tennessee's offense does well when they don't turn the football over. They're very efficient. But the most efficient team, most efficient offense right now in college football, Vanderbilt, they average 7.5 yards per play right now. That's crazy. Crazy. And the thing is, the explosive plays with Tennessee's secondary, just going through those numbers, Chad, Pavia's been lighting it up in the passing game. And we know Tennessee has allowed explosive plays. They tend to always start fast.
Yeah.
10-0, and they did against Tennessee recently. And I feel like Pavia tends to meet the moment. I know he had 2 turnovers against Bama. One of those is just a fraction away from being, he's down by contact, fumbled with the ground. I'm saying all that to say he talks a lot of shit. And normally when that happens, he plays okay. Mm-hmm.
It's such a big game.
I think Aguilar goes off too.
Biggest game in Vandy. I think Aguilar is set up to have a big day. Yeah. And also 2 different styles. Tennessee's going to play fast. They're going to want to score quick with explosive plays normally. Will they have a patient game plan the way they did against Florida, where they take the underneath stuff, where Joey Aguilar doesn't force it and throw a pick, trying to force something in? That's a big part of this game. And Vanderbilt, they play almost like a service academy in how they control the clock.
Yep.
They're going to snap it under 5 on the play clock every time. They want to bleed the clock in Neyland Stadium and go on long drives in this game.
Yeah, and you have to force Vanderbilt to go the long hard way.
And Tennessee's defense, they're primed to allow that. They're primed to allow some long drives against Vanderbilt also.
Real quick, win or lose, this Vanderbilt program must decide, are they going all in on football? That's what this season has meant. Pavia's talked some trash over the offseason, right? We saw all that. We saw Tennessee take the foot off the gas against Florida. Do they keep hammering it if they get going this week? And
imagine if Vandy's in a position to run up the score
on
Tennessee the way they did against Kentucky. Boy, would that be embarrassing for Tennessee people
Chad, 30
if
seconds.
That's the case.
Give me your scenario of Vanderbilt will know kind of who's done what ahead of them, right?
They need Miami to lose to Pitt. That's going to happen at 11 a.m. They would need Ole Miss to lose also to give another team 2 losses. Michigan will play before them. Michigan needs to lose to Ohio State.
They'll know.
And then, there could be a scenario where it's, now we just need Auburn to beat Alabama and we're in. And you're in, right? Or they could kind of know by the end of the game, it's not going to happen. But Utah needs to lose to Kansas on Friday is another big one that needs to fall for Vanderbilt. So they may know by the end of the game whether or not they're actually in the playoff or not, or they just beat their rival. Game number 3. Number 7, Ole Miss, a 6.5-point favorite at Mississippi State. Friday, noon Eastern, ABC. I'll make this quick. This game is all about Lane Kiffin. It's all about Lane Kiffin. Everything's been about Lane Kiffin. It's not been about Ole Miss. Kawan Lacey, maybe separate of Jeremiah Love, having the best season for any running back in college football. But it's all about Lane Kiffin. If they lose to Mississippi State, boy, oh boy, all the talk is going to be about Lane Kiffin. Game number 2. Number 3, Texas A&M, 2.5-point favorite on the road at number 16, Texas. Friday, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Texas A&M undefeated, only a 2.5-point favorite. Texas went to College Station a year ago and got a big win. Hutton, this feels big for Steve Sarkisian. He's trying to deflect a lot about not a disappointing season, even though they're preseason number 1. This would feel like it wasn't as disappointing of a season if you can beat A&M and give them their only loss.
A&M's offensive line, they are talking up Heisman for Marcel Reed. This is the first time in 15 years A&M has been back in Austin. Here we go.
If Texas wins, the talk will then pivot to Arch Manning is your Heisman frontrunner if he has a good game for next year. Then it'll be now Texas has figured it out, Arch has figured it out. They're going to be the preseason number 1 again next year. Get ready for that.
The big stat differential here, A&M's 15th in offensive efficiency. Texas 72nd with 21 sacks allowed. A&M has 39 sacks on defense. Arch Manning 23-7. Marcel Reed 25-8.
Wow.
That's the record. That's 25 touchdowns to interceptions, I should say. And then Reed also has 6 rushing touchdowns as well. Hey, if you like the channel, become a season ticket holder for Hot Mic by clicking the subscribe button below and join the conversation in the comments section. Agree, disagree, we'll join you there in the chat. Now back to Hot Mic.
Game number 1, it's the game. Ohio State at Michigan. The Buckeyes, a 9.5-point favorite. 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. I mean, Dave Portnoy has been shouting it for 4 years now and talking about how Michigan has a mental edge over Ohio State. Ohio State can't get over the hump. I asked Bobby Carpenter, would you rather beat Michigan and lose the national championship game or lose to Michigan again and win a back-to-back national title? He said, I'll take the national championship. I think there are a lot of Ohio State people who would disagree with him, and Bobby's telling the truth on that, and I get it. There are people who would disagree that they just want to win this game more than anything else to shut Michigan people up.
Oh, man, Chad, it's been nearly 6 years since they've won. 2021 was the game. It's been 2,191 days since they beat Michigan.
This would be big for the Big Ten if Michigan were to win because it gets you an extra team in.
Final scores, 2021, 42-27, 45-23, 30-24, then last year was 13-10. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to OutKick Hot Mic.
Daily content and more at OutKick Hot Mic on YouTube.